For this week's report, the general election is just around the corner. Trick-or-treat safety tips from the Exeter PD. Paid parking and a downtown green space discussed at the Select Board. Fall Art Tour showcases Exeter's creative side. And Exeter TV showcases its storytelling with other community TV stations. For Exeter TV, I'm Gabe Perez, and this is the Exeter Biweekly Report. Let's get started. Thanks for tuning into the show today. We currently have 1,680 subscribers and are looking to hit 2,000 before the end of the year. Did you know that 92% of our YouTube viewers aren't subscribed? That's a huge discrepancy. So please, if you're new or returning to the channel, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified about new content. And let's get to the 2K before the end of the year. For our first segment, we have important information about how to register to vote for the upcoming general election on Tuesday, November 5th.
The general election is just around the corner on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Exeter residents can register to vote in the town clerk's office during their normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Monday, or 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday. The supervisors of the checklist will be in session from 7 to 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, the 29th, for the last day to register to vote prior to Election Day. With New Hampshire same-day voter registration, residents that missed the October 29th deadline can still register to vote at the polls on Election Day. With higher voter turnout expected, voters are encouraged to visit the town clerk's office during normal business hours to register to vote. To register to vote, please bring the following documentations: proof of identity, proof of age, proof of citizenship, such as a passport, birth certificate, or naturalization documents. Real ID does not count to prove citizenship. Proof of domicile, such as a utility bill with current address, a New Hampshire vehicle registration, or a New Hampshire driver's license. For more information on what to bring to register to vote, contact the town clerk's office at 603-418-6403, or stop by in person at 10 Front Street. Turning to Election Day itself, the polls will be open on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The polls are located in the Talbot Gym within the Seco School of Technology at 40 Linden Street. If you have any questions about registering to vote, absentee ballots, or any other election information, please contact the town clerk's office or visit the town website, exeternh.gov/elections.
Trick-or-treating will be held in Exeter on Halloween night, Thursday, October 31st from 4 to 7 p.m. To get you ready to venture out into the darkness, we spoke with the Exeter Police Department's Bruce Page and Steve Petrosky about how to stay safe while trick-or-treating. You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is a dimension very similar to our own. A dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You are moving into a land of both terribly terrifying and deliciously sweet, of things and ideas you just crossed over into the Exeter Zone.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Officer Steve.
And I'm Detective Bruce Page with the Exeter Police Department.
We're here tonight to give you some great safety tips on how to be safe and have a great time during your trick-or-treat event.
This year, we're giving away Halloween bags in the lobby of the police department. So included in these bags are
one great coloring book and one box of crayons so you can have a great time coloring.
There also might be some other little treats in these bags. So tell your kids to come in and grab one of these at the Exeter Police Department.
See you at the PD.
So safety tip number one is going to be to cross the street with a grown-up. Look both ways and make sure no cars are coming. It's very important. Make sure you stop and look both ways. All right.
Safety tip number two is while we're walking along the sidewalk and you look across the street and you see that big bucket of beautiful candy, please use the crosswalk. Do not run in between two parked cars into the street. It's not safe. Please wait. Please back up, use the sidewalk, walk down to the crosswalk. Be safe and have fun.
Thank you.
Safety tip number 3 is you want to have a grown-up check your candy. So when you get home, have a grown-up go through your candy before you eat it. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. You're good to go.
Safety tip number 4 is when you walk up to the house, please do not enter the house. Do not go into the doorway. If the candy's on the porch, take the candy from the porch. If you see it inside the house with the door open, please do not go into the house. Be safe at all times.
Come in, come on in, come in. Where are you going?
Safety tip number 5 is you want to have a flashlight with you or something that you can see the ground so you don't trip over stuff. Safety tip number 6, if you're going to wear a mask, make sure it's high visibility and you can see out of it. We don't want you tripping on roots or something like that. Hey, can you see?
I can see fine.
Thanks everybody for watching our Halloween safety video. We had a lot of fun making this. The main thing is we want everybody to have a great time on Halloween, but be safe when you're doing it.
Remember, it's Halloween. Anything can happen.
We good?
Yeah. I guess I'll put music over it or something.
Sure.
Or I just won't. It'll just be... A quick note that Exeter Parks and Rec will once again be holding their annual Halloween parade and costume contest in Swayze Parkway this weekend, Saturday, October 26th, starting at 10:30 a.m. So we hope to see some spooky costumes while there. Now, for another spooky topic, change. The Select Board received a presentation on the downtown parking, traffic, and pedestrian flow analysis report at their meeting. The report had ideas for modifications that could be made in the next 5 to 10 years. Learn all about it from a recap from our Meeting Minute series. Welcome to your Meeting Minute for the October 15th Select Board meeting. After several board interview, Chair Nico Papakonstantis begins the meeting addressing the Swayze Parkway warrant article from 2023 that allowed a turnaround zone that allows cars entry within the parkway. As Nico describes,
but ultimately, the Public Works Director and the Highway Superintendent came up with the plan that we all heard about on September 30th. Ultimately, the trustees joined the Select Board on September 30th. The trustees and the Select Board were in unanimous agreement that this was a good temporary solution which would allow folks to come in the Newfields entrance, be able to turn their cars around safely. There are several parking spaces for those that have physical limitations. And again, Public Works has designed this in a way that cars will be able to safely turn around, cars will be able to safely park. The elimination of this green space for the turnaround is actually going to improve the drainage of that area. So we're actually making an improvement. And finally, this is going to assist us greatly in the Coastal Resiliency Grant that we were just approved for. So I just want to reiterate that that was sort of the timeline. Nothing here was sprung out at anybody. Again, it's a temporary solution, and everything that's being done can be revised later if folks come up with a more permanent plan.
After that, the first item on their agenda is the Riverwoods Pilot Agreement, which is an annual agreement the board reviews on a yearly basis. The board approved and signed the agreement. Next, Scott Marsh from MRI gave a revaluation report.
Part of the manufactured home, why the percentage, I believe part of the reason why the percentage is so large is because the valuation started out so low. If you take a $30,000 manufactured home and you put $50,000 increase in value to it, it's 100 and whatever percent increase. Whereas if you take that $400,000 or $500,000 home and it goes up $50,000, it's only a 5 or 10% increase. So that's where some of that percentage change is, why it's so large, is because manufactured homes 5 years ago were selling for $30,000 and $40,000, and now they're $90,000 and $100,000. So in some cases, some went up over 200%.
Is that because they're kind of the entry level?
Yeah, that is definitely what it is. There's such a high demand for that entry-level property and very limited supply, so that's really what's driving their values, and we're not seeing any decline in that either.
The board approved the report, leading us to the final big-ticket item of the night, an update from Dave Sharples regarding the downtown parking traffic flow analysis. He sits down and speaks to the board regarding options and strategies presented for what town staff recommends which action should be taken. They summarize,
we're going to look into the short-term loading parking spaces, come back with a proposal, kind of a low-hanging fruit. We're going to look into paid parking and permit parking, try to, talk to some consultants, see what that world looks like, come back with a strategy, start looking at parking and wayfinding signage along with that consultant whole type of thing, and then improve markings and signage for bicycles. Obviously, that's a yes. The zoning is going to go to the planning board. We're going to continue to explore the revised parking ban in the next year or two. We're supportive of the reconfiguration of the bandstand, strategy 12, kind of mid to longer term, the midterm area, 5 to 7, whatever years. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll slowly, kind of start looking at that from an engineering perspective and see what's feasible. The multimodal improvements, we'll keep an eye on them. We'll, in the longer term vision, if there happens to be a project or something that we can fold one of these in, then, we'll do that. But we'll just kind of keep an eye on them. They're not an immediate, we're not going to do anything immediately with those. And reimagining Water Street, kind of a longer term examination.
Very quickly, the Rec Revolving Fund needed to be tapped into due to time restraints. Parks and Rec were looking to spend their design funds for the 10 Hampton Road project straight out of the Rec Revolving Fund, rather than taking the time to find 3 separate bids, which could jeopardize the project. The board approved. DPW Director Stephen Cronin entered via Zoom, asking to reward the School Street Area Improvement Project contract design to CMA engineers for $377,000, which the board quickly approved. The town went on to regular business after that. The next meeting will be on October 28th. See you there. Looking for something to do as we shift into autumn? Check out the Exeter Fall Art Tour on November 2nd and 3rd. Art Up Front Street invites you to once again come to their Exeter Fall Art Tour, a guided 14-stop tour of Exeter's arts and culture, Saturday and Sunday, November 2nd and 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on both days. Using a map as a guide, you can explore a walkthrough of Exeter's highly artistic and cultural landmarks and shopfronts. From galleries, collectives, and studios, expect to find all form of Exeter's creative artistic talent on display for your eyes to see and experience. Locations include Exeter Fine Crafts, Windows on Water, Seacoast Artists Association, Lamont Gallery, and so many more. So if you want to tour and celebrate Exeter's creative and artistic talents, it begins at 10 a.m. both Saturday and Sunday, November 2nd to 3rd. For more information, you can visit their website at exeterfallarttour.com, or you can pick up a map at any of these following locations seen here on the screen. And for our last segment, Exeter TV is a proud member of the New Hampshire Coalition for Community Media, with Bob serving as its vice president. The NHCCM held its annual summit last week, bringing together community TV stations from across the state to discuss community storytelling, with examples such as this very show. Here's a quick look at how Exeter and other stations are leading the way with community news.
The New Hampshire Coalition for Community Media held its annual summit in the chicken tender capital of the world, Manchester, New Hampshire, bringing together community media leaders from across the Granite State. The theme of this year's summit was Community Storytelling as Journalism, with Nick LaValle and Grace LeMay talking about how they approach storytelling in their community with Merrimack TV.
At a crossroads, we were brainstorming in our office, what is Merrimack TV? What's community TV in 2019? What does that look like?
The team at Merrimack TV worked to create several short video series, recapping government meetings.
At the November 17th Town Council meeting, Town Manager Paul McCallie went over the 2023-24 budget schedule,
covering department news.
After corralling the small herd, Officer Brian Masker arrived on the scene, alongside curious neighbors.
And the third, exploring the human stories in their community.
Almost everyone who grew up watching TV in New Hampshire and Massachusetts knows the greeting that started decades of forecasts.
Easy, Deborah. This is meteorologist Al Capone. Of course, now that the weekend's over, like the last couple of weeks, the weather's turning great. If you're on vacation this week, have a good time.
We spoke to Nick LaValle after the event to learn more about what he hopes people would take away from Merrimack's talk.
The goal of this workshop today was to inspire people. We want people to walk away feeling energized, that just maybe they could also produce storytelling content, journalistic type storytelling content, and share that on their community media channels in New Hampshire.
I was one of those inspired by the work happening in Merrimack and wanted to improve the coverage offered by Exeter TV, incorporating recaps of government meetings and more in-depth storytelling. I presented alongside Merrimack TV, showing what storytelling looks like in Exeter. We just kind of rebranded the show and ourselves as like everything Exeter, you know, coverage of meetings, information from town departments, updates from nonprofits in the area. But we also, you know, inspired by those Merrimack moments, we wanted to tell Exeter's story as well. And, you know, those segments really pushed me to be like, we can tell good stories. Nancy Belanger, selectwoman in Exeter, was pleased to see that the work being done with Exeter TV is having a positive impact on the community media industry in the state.
So I followed the progression of what has been accomplished with Exeter TV, and it's exciting, and what a lot of us had envisioned. But to be here with the collaboration, the excitement, the inspiration, the sharing of ideas, that to me stood out the most.
With the decline of local news coverage, community TV stations are some of the last sources of information for residents. The content being created in Exeter and Merrimack are having positive impacts on their communities, keeping residents informed and connected.
To be able to access what's happening in other communities, whether it's to inspire, as Bob had said during this presentation, that he was inspired by Merrimack, and for things that I value. Our meeting minutes, our biweekly reports that you put together. We don't have our local newspapers like we used to. You people from Exeter TV and our other local communities that pulled this together are what is helping keep our citizens informed. It's invaluable.
Our Merrimack Moment series has been well received in our community. So much, in fact, that we have an easier time finding people to spotlight. And we're not just meeting people through producing Merrimack Moments, we're actually building community partnerships and building relationships. Every Merrimack moment that we cover, every person that we feature, we end up meeting another group or ultimately a network of people. So it's connecting us with our residents and nonprofit groups that serve Merrimack and just community groups.
The New Hampshire Coalition for Community Media, or NHCCM, is proud to connect community TV stations and media centers from across the state with various nonprofits and independent producers to promote the use of community media. To learn more about the NHCCM, visit our website, nhccm.org.
That does it for this week's report. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to help us spread the word. Head over to the town website and subscribe to the town email newsletter to get this show and other local news sent straight to your inbox. For Exeter TV, I'm Gabe Perez, and this has been the Exeter Biweekly Report. Have a good weekend, Exeter. And happy Halloween. Ha 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 ha.